Good evening, viewers, and welcome to The Price of Fame. My name is Lunga Tshuka, and I'll be your host. So, The Price of Fame is a podcast that focuses on the real stories about the journey to success, from the moment of realization of one's gift or purpose. And in these conversations, we aim to shed the light on the hardships, the sacrifices, and the mindsets our guests have to overcome to achieve the current positions in their career. And these are their stories. Gung, gung. Tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a South African gem. He's a singer, songwriter, a fitness freak, and he's have a huge heart for community work as well as giving back. His hits has been played on radio stations across South Africa, and he's performed at sold-out concerts and shared the stage with some iconic artists such as Simply Red, Jonathan Butler, Shaggy, as well as the late Brenda Fassie. And also on a more personal level, we've enjoyed his music at our brides, at our family gatherings, and our karaoke evenings. And whenever you hear someone shout, "Spell a liquor jazz number," they always request "Why or Only with You." Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome to the screen the very talented singer, songwriter. He goes by the name of Garth Taylor.
Pew pew pew. Sounds like a boxing intro.
Love it, man. How are you doing, sir?
Seconds out, round one.
only punchlines, only strictly punchlines here. How are you doing?
Love it. I'm well. How are you, man?
I'm very well, thanks. And thank you so much.
So happy.
Sorry?
I'm so happy it's summer.
Oh yeah, we can feel it already. We just got like maybe 2 weeks, this week and next week, but we can feel it already. Today they tried to trick us with a little bit of wind, but we could still feel it's still hot out there. So yeah, summer is coming. It's gonna be amazing. I hope that we all have an amazing and a facelift from what we've been dealing with, and just have a lack of summer this time around. But man, thank you so much for making time to be on The Price of Fame. For the guests, obviously you guys know I usually start at 7 p.m., but today we have a very special guest, and he made actually time for us. He actually tried to squeeze us in his busy schedule. He was actually driving home from the gym. And like I said, he's a fitness freak, but we're going to get into all of that. What part of fitness? Because that could be anything. It could be he's a hiker, it could be he's a cyclist, it could be. But this man, as you saw, as he came into the room, he came in with those punchlines. So we'll get. But before we get into all of that, I need to find out what your vibe is like. How is 2021 been treating you so far? I mean, we're nearly done. It's nearly the end of the year. We're nearly wrapping it up. And let us know, how's it been for you?
Geez, 2021. It's I'll tell you one thing. It's forced me into doing all my admin.
Absolutely.
Less time on stage, more time on the books. So.
Yeah.
I've been doing. Yeah, I've always taught myself. So I've taken the time in 2021 to learn all sorts of new things in the music industry. I'm ready to implement for my next bunch of songs that I'm going to say hits. I'm going to be confident that I'm going to release. I've taken, a lot of people kind of thrown in the towel. Artists have become estate agents and things like that. A lot of my friends.
Yeah.
And I still want the music. So I've been learning the back end of the music industry for the most of 2021. I was in the UK. I actually went there for a songwriting sabbatical. And amongst other things, I thought, while we're in lockdown and experiencing this awful pandemic, might as well make myself useful. And knowing I couldn't perform and do concerts and tours, I just took a bit of time out overseas. Came back in May, and I came back to a bit of a nasty surprise. They locked down, but it's okay because writing, you can write a song on a train, in an airplane, on a bus. So I keep going. That's what I've been doing, man.
Yeah. Listen, I believe, let's jump into it right now, so I believe that another passion of yours, we're going to speak about all the music, but I just want to come across something real quick because we have something in common here, which is martial arts. I did Kyokushin karate for about 6 years, training at the dojo. Now I just do it by myself at the gym, and I have a couple of buddies that I will meet up with and just to stay fit, but it was always a personal myself. You, my
Nice.
man,
Yeah.
you actually came from the gym. You came straight from the gym, straight from the dojo, and you've been doing kickboxing for quite some time. Can you please tell us about your kickboxing journey and your kickboxing passion? When did you start, and like, how dangerous are you? What level are you now?
Nah. Well, geez, you know, have you ever heard the saying "level Asian"?
No, it's beyond me. It's beyond me. We don't even speak like that where I come from.
As musicians, you watch like a lot of YouTube videos of guys jamming and playing songs, and let me tell you, the guys from Asia, these like these 15, 16-year-old kids that are playing, they're playing like session musicians. They're playing like music gods. So I came
Yeah.
up with I heard this thing. It was like so when you're playing a riff or a lick or something like that, you know, you say, "Oh wow, man, that's level Asian." In other words, like so good. It's actually a
Okay.
huge compliment. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so look, I did win the South African Championship. If does that mean anything? So I was like,
Yes,
I was
of
a
course.
SA champ kickboxer. Is
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
okay?
I did the champs once before, and I was like, I'm happy. And I bow down after that. I'm like, I know when to quit. Quit with your head.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
loved it.
cool, man.
I,
And
I,
you still
I'm
do you train now, or do you compete as well? Or do you just like give training classes as well, or what are you doing now? You like a coach, or you competing as well?
yeah,
And
all of the above. So I was actually meant to fight the essays this year in October. It was on the 30th, but during one of the sparring tryouts for the essays, which is where you basically fight against other fighters that are entering the South African champs, and you get tested against black belts and second dans and whatever. I received a spinning back kick in my rib,
ah,
and unfortunately cracked my rib, so I wasn't able to compete.
so that one.
But yeah, I'm recovered now, so I will be competing. I love the competition side of it. So next year I will be competing, but for now I'm teaching. I'm teaching kids, you know, beginners, intermediates. I've had some experienced fighters that I put into the ring, and they've won. So I'm one of those guys that are unfortunate enough that I can teach as well as I can train. So you know, I can do both, and I love helping people learn how to defend themselves. Yeah,
That's so cool. And I know that spinning back kick, it's a lethal one. It's one
yeah,
that's the kick that usually ends the fight. And I'm sure it ended your session
yeah,
as well, because obviously your rib was cracked. We didn't want to go on with that. But that's a kick, if it
yeah.
executed properly, it ends the fight. Once it's executed properly, I've never seen anyone just get off or like just dust it off and be like, yeah, let's go again.
No, yeah, it's difficult
Properly.
to, especially those are rib crackers. You're not supposed to do them in sparring sessions or tryouts, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, you know, you get excited, and the chap he went for it, and the reason why it caught me was because I didn't expect it. You know, I thought that it was going to be a you know, normal straightforward. You pull back your punches. You don't really try and knock the guy out while you're trying.
Absolutely,
Um,
you know?
yeah, but unfortunately, he got excited. I'm very difficult to hit. Uh, I
Okay.
think I think I got from my childhood when my mom was running around the dining room table trying to give me hidings. I've always been very tough to hit, so I'm
Yeah,
quite good with defense and ducking and diving. So I
yeah.
frustrate the fighters quite a bit. And when I was in that particular bout, I think I frustrated him. So all he could do was you know, lash out, and he got me
You know
good.
what? I think I think like to you it was, you know what, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't mean it. But when he was driving, everyone was like, yes, I got him. Yes. He made a bet with the other guys, like, I will get him. Don't worry, I will get him today.
Don't worry, I'll
Listen,
get him back for you. Yeah, I'll
oh
pay it
yeah, get it
dearly.
back. Mess with us here and mess with your career and everything like that. And you
Yeah,
being a very famous, iconic musician, being Garth and all of that, you know, you stepping in another industry or in another place where where your rank of being Garth Taylor doesn't mean anything, because if you're a white belt, you're a white belt. If you're a beginner, you're a beginner, and you're in the same room as everyone else, right? How has that
yeah.
been for you? People like, you know, have you had to like balance your stardom and be like, guys, I'm just here to train now? Do you ever get those difficulties or those challenges?
So, so actually, the funny thing is that a few people are fans at the various dojos I go to. where I train my students and my fellow fighters and things, they kind of know me. We buds and we mates. There's no rank in terms of personality there. Like
Cool.
but sometimes there's somebody that recognizes me, and they're like there's like a little conversation, and they're like, nah, it can't be. And then, like, we carry on. And then someone passes a comment, and they come up to me afterwards, like, oh my gosh, you that guy, and I've just hit you, I'm sorry, and we just fought with each other. I'm like, dude, some people play golf and some people play tennis, some people do kickboxing. That's my thing. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's all good.
And like, sorry?
No. Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you ever like underestimated, about fighters being like, what? He's a musician. He doesn't know anything about fighting. I will block him in. Do people ever underestimate you because they think that you're not so passionate about kickboxing, and they think like you all your knowledge is in music, and like, I'll show this musician wants to come into the ring. Yeah, no. Do we ever get people who look at you like that?
Yeah, well, you just uncovered my secret weapon. That's actually my secret weapon. The power of underestimation. So I step into the ring with a big smile. I'm very friendly, and I'm just that guy, and yes, I am underestimated on the streets and also in the ring, because I don't really look like. If you look at me, yes, okay, I look like I work out. Oh, not even work out. I look like a marathon runner. I'm thin. I'm stringy. I've got this friendly face. I'm smiling all the time. So people are like, hey, man, how hard can it be? So yeah, quite often I am like I was actually, to tell you a story, I was asked to fill in last year for one of my boxers actually that I was training. He pulled out the last minute, and they said to me, well, can't you fight? I'm like, okay, because now they'd already done the fight card for the evening.
Yeah.
And they said, well, he's the same weight as you, so instead of calling the whole thing off, maybe you can fill in. So I said, yeah, okay. And when the opponent was told that I was filling in, he was very excited because he thought, oh, well, it's going to be a pushover. And he did. He came in and he tried to knock me out so badly. Very hard hitter, big guy. He was actually heavier than me. And when I realized that was, I was like, normally when I get in the ring, to me it's a game, literally a game. I just throw some points, and this guy tried to knock my head off. And of course, that's don't seldom do that, but that's the one time where I actually laid it on a bit heavier, and I got a TKO in the second round. So
wow.
I wasn't having it. I need to look after this. This is like my work. So.
When someone tries to knock, and people's like, what's wrong? No, trust me, I'm fine. You should see the other guy, and then you see. It doesn't work. That's why. Like, no, you're broken. No, trust me, I won. Listen to my music.
Yeah, I had to stop him before he did that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so. Listen, how many years have you been doing training now? I mean, fighting and training for?
Okay, so I started when I was actually quite young, 17, 18. And then I stopped because of exactly that. I wasn't very good when I started, and I've got big heart, but I had no talent at 17 in terms of kickboxing. So I would want to fight all the fights. I'd get into the ring and I'd get laid out. So I was like, nope, I need to either choose kickboxing or music, because if I'm going to go kickboxing, I'm going to look like hell, and but I chose music, and I stopped the kickboxing side of things for a long time until 2011. And then, I'm not going to tell you my age, but anyway, I stopped for a while. Then I started again. I still look good for 30, right?
Yeah, then I'm probably 12 if
30. Easy, Tiger.
No, but you still look good. You still look good, and obviously, like, your lifestyle is a huge contribution to that. And I'm sure, like, if you were to advise anyone anything, if they're looking for tips on how to stay healthy, especially in this time, because lockdown put a lot of weight on so many people, which they didn't expect.
Yeah.
I mean, you will probably have a really good week program for them, a month program to a year program that can really get people into shape. So respect to you for keeping your thing up, man. I don't think you look different at all Maybe because you're sitting so far from the camera, but you still look
Yeah,
exactly
I come closer.
images, you look exactly like your poster. Like, and I'm sure you even move a lot better now. Let's be honest. You probably are more active and a lot better now than a couple of years back, right?
Oh no, absolutely. You know, but the more, because the older I get, the more I feel I need to keep up with my peers. And to be quite honest, there's not a lot of people that can keep up with me energy wise. I won't lie.
Yeah.
It's I'm just one of those
Dude,
energizer bunnies. Always have been.
yeah. Energizer Bunny, I'm not Energizer Funny. Listen, I've done kickboxing training like twice or thrice, and I must say the fitness training and all of that endurance training is hectic. It's on another level. It's on
Yeah.
another level, guys. And I'm not even joking when they
Amazing.
100 push-ups and they want it all in one go, 100 sit-ups one in one go, 100 kicks in one go. I was like, what's going on here? You know, and it's like another level of fitness. But today we're not speaking about all about the music. Yes, we're talking about you and your story, and we just covered some of the martial arts, but we actually want to get into how we really know you. And please tell us how it all started for you. When did the music start for you? What made you go into music? How did you get your spark? How old were you?
Yeah, so that's such an interesting question because I've had people who say to me that the music industry, as you know, is waves, right? It's up and downs. Well, entertainment industry, the arts industry. Um, and then people say to me, when is it low? And I'm whining like a stuffed pig. They say, yeah, seriously, God, you chose this. You've got no right to complain. The
Yeah.
truth is, I didn't really choose music. I didn't one day go, okay, I'm going to do music for a living. I was it kind of chose me. Um, I, other kids would be doing all the cool stuff like playing football, playing rugby. I don't know, going out, looking suave, looking cool. The guys would
Yeah.
be building their bodies up, and I'd be all I'd worry about is learning this tune from Elton John. At the time, that's kind of what I grew up with, or learning how to play this particular riff, or learning something else, or rhythmic, or I see this interesting instruments, and they call a saxophone, and I want to play that,
Yeah.
and I kind of like it kind of chose me. I didn't decide, oh, I want to be a musician. Kind of like I couldn't avoid it. It was something unavoidable. Um, I was 8 years old when I had I see this photograph, and it always reminds me of the beginning. I've got a photograph of me at 8. I was still in a children's home. I was literally on my way out of the children's home, and I was at a birthday party organized by my real mom. And there's a guitar-shaped cake in front of me, and the look on my face is priceless. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to eat that, suckers. I have a guitar-shaped cake.
Yeah.
That's me. So it's
That's
like that's sort of a testament to how long it's been. Since I was 8, they're like guitar-shaped cake. Kids at 8,
yeah.
what do they have these days? I mean, I don't know, a transformer, maybe a minion. Perhaps
iPad. They're getting
iPad,
iPad.
mine, a Minecraft figure. Yeah. I had my guitar-shaped cake at 8. So I used to do concerts for my mum when she had visitors over. I used to, where the other kids would be playing with Lego or whatever in the other rooms, when all the parents and the adults were sitting having a braai playing
Yeah.
guitar. I used to run into the kitchen and grab my mom's Tupperware and tins and anything I could. Like I'd get a tin and I'd put coins in the tin to make it sound like a snare drum, for
Oh,
instance. And
that's
I'd get like a Tupperware and a cardboard box, and I'd make my own little drum kits. And I used to be hanging with the adults playing. I used to be the drummer while they did their music evenings. So yeah,
yeah.
literally it's always just been a part of me. And even my first hit song came out. I didn't even know it was a hit. I mean, for 2 years, the song was out. It was a huge hit, and I was none the wiser. I carried on jamming cover songs in a Hotel California in Durban, having the time of my life, having the best life. And so, yeah, I'd say music chose me, man.
Awesome. And at what
Yeah.
point did you actually be like, you know what? This is actually a good thing that I've got going on here. Let me take it seriously. Let me actually put myself out there as a musician. Let me actually put my house, my family, my food, everything on this. At what point did you realize this could actually mean something a lot bigger than what I'm doing currently doing now? At what point was that?
I'd say it was in 2000. Literally, that's when the song became a hit, my first song, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." So when I was a kid, I always imagined myself as a pop star. Oh, I'm going to be a pop star one day. And 2000 kind of hit me. I was hired to perform in Cape Town. I got on a plane. I quoted the guy, and he accepted my quote because it was out of town. I put a couple of extra rand on top of it.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is when I quoted him, he assumed that it was the figure I quoted plus an extra zero. You know how people say, like somebody says, "How much is your car?" And you say, "Oh, it's 20." You don't mean 20 rand, you mean 20 grand, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when the guy asked me how much do you charge, I said, "Yeah, 1.5." And what I meant was $1,500 for a gig. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of money, right? And he accepted. I'm like, yeah, cool. And I gave him my bank account details. The next thing I see, like, there's 15 grand in my account. I'm like, what? I was like, whoa, they've obviously got the wrong guy, clearly.
Wow.
I
That's
landed
you.
in Cape Town. Yeah, I landed in Cape Town. It was my first gig at a place called Grand. What was it called? Upstairs from the Grand. What was it called? The Grand West, not the Grand West. Galaxy, West End.
Okay.
Galaxy.
West,
On
yes,
top of
West End,
West
on
End,
the other
a
side.
live jazz venue. Yeah. So I arrived, and the guy picked me up in a brand new Merc. I was like, "Whoa, he's definitely got the wrong China." Then we're driving to the club, and on the way he's saying, "Wow, man, I'm a big fan of your music." I'm like, "Whoa, you also like Kool and the Gang?" Because that's what I used to sing. I used to sing Kool and the Gang. I used to sing Lionel Richie, and it's like big
Yeah.
fan of music. I'm like, well, great. I just thought you liked the way I did Hotel California.
Yeah.
So we arrive at the club, and on the journey, he's like, "I hope you're going to sing Why." Now I was like, "Okay." So I recorded the song, but I never released the song.
Yeah.
Somebody else released the song, and I didn't even know about it.
Wow.
Yeah, luckily I had it as part of my repertoire because I used to, do little brag reports on stage. Yeah, so
Yeah.
listen, I know you guys like me singing a Bad Moon Rising, but I can also write songs. And here's a song that I wrote, and I'd sing Why, and people are like, "Oh no, it's cool." Because in Durban, this song wasn't a hit.
Okay.
Durban, as you know, is 20 years behind the rest of the country, always. So it wasn't yet a hit. So it wasn't yet a hit in Durban. Now they're still playing my first single. They never played the rest of my hits. Can you
Yeah, they're all
imagine?
behind. All behind. Oh my Lord. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. Then I arrived, and he said, "Are you singing Why?" I'm like, "Yep." And I got on stage, and when I first walked onto the stage at the West End, the place went quiet. It was like the MC said, "Garth Taylor," and I ran out on the stage, and then we like, kept quiet. They looked at me. Yeah, must be. No, man, that's Garth Taylor's manager. I thought I was the manager or something because they just went quiet. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God. I was like, and at that moment, I thought I was right. They've got the wrong guy. I just felt the blood rush out from my body.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to do. And now because the guy who hired me, the promoter, asked me to sing Why first. Luckily, they ran the track, and the track ran, and everyone's looking past me, looking for Garth Taylor, looking for Garth.
No, it's not that guy.
Yeah, and I start singing like, "Why here's a word," and then the places blew up, and the shock slash excitement, just like it rushed at
Yeah.
me. The place was so full. Now West End has got the staircase that you
Yeah.
climb up to get into the venue. The place was so
Yes.
full you couldn't fit anybody else in the venue, and
Wow.
there were people on the staircase sitting on each other's shoulders to see that it was so full you couldn't fit another body in there, and the entire place was singing my song back to me so loud that I couldn't hear myself through the monitor speakers. And
Wow.
that Lunga is when I knew that I had to take myself seriously.
I'm like literally getting goosebumps. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I'm literally getting goosebumps picturing that whole thing. Just the
Yeah,
energy, like from the quietness
it
and
was fun.
silence, like we don't trust this guy,
Yeah.
like Garth. Nah, I don't look like a Garth to me. I was like, nah, I ain't no
Yeah,
Garth. And then the thing is also your voice. You have a very, I like the, I don't even know how to describe it, but I like there's a bit of a bass in it, you know, but it's not a bass voice. It's not a bass, but there's a bit of a bass in it, but it's kind of like sexy in a way, you know. I don't want to get any confused emotions here. It's kind of sexy in a way, but like the thing is, it's such a unique voice, you know, and like it's like
thank you.
undeniable. Once we hear you, even just say why isn't oh man, it's like wow, there's no arguing. It's like, yep, that is definitely the guy. And for you to say like the whole place was singing back to you, like on a level that you couldn't even hear yourself.
No,
That's a lot of love, my man. That is a lot. I'm still getting goosebumps just by thinking about it. Oh, it's crazy. Like it's really, really
it was
crazy.
insane. It was insane. You know, I didn't expect it. I've always had a very humble approach to my music. I've always been like sort of a backseat driver. I've never wanted to be the front man of my own show, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that was a moment. That was a moment in my career when I knew that I had to start taking myself a bit more seriously. And when I realized I actually had what it took, you know,
Yeah.
until that moment, I really didn't. Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I mean, even getting the big paycheck, being picked up like that. I mean, the experience started with the money coming in already. The experience started there. Then you being picked up, it was like another wow. And then for you to see
Yeah.
that energy shift, wow, I can only imagine like and like you probably felt like a superstar, like some kind of hero, you know. You came and you
It
saved
was
this.
insane. I wasn't used to it. It was something I never had in my life before. I mean, the biggest gigs I'd played was like you know, a place called Porky's. With like
Yeah,
120 people total, like 200 people total in the place. And I was like, oh yes, I've made it. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, that was it. And I was like, people would react because I used to like imitating artists. You know, I'd imitate, funny enough, Shaggy, and I'd imitate Elton John, and
Yeah.
I'd imitate Willie Nelson. Everybody I was saying, I kind of imitated their voices. Tina Turner, of all things.
Yeah.
And I was on
Wow.
stage, and I was doing me. You know, I was doing
Yeah.
me, and there was that reaction. So I was
It's
like
so
blown. Yeah, yeah.
listen, actually, let's talk about just that's the song. Why? When you wrote the song, why did you write the song? When you
Yeah.
wrote the song, was it something that you experienced, or were you just inspired and you just put words together and it came out like a beautiful song? Or did you really write about a moment or something that it actually meant something to you? And is it dedicated to someone when you wrote it?
Yeah. So anybody who knows me or anybody who's had the opportunity to sit and actually talk with me about me and you know dig into my heart, they'll know that I've always been pretty much a very critical person of myself. Like I've always been over, you know, I've been over hard on myself. You know, I know it's not a good thing. You know, I'm working on it. But I've always kind of been self-defamatory, and if a situation goes wrong, I've always blamed me first, you know, regardless. It's always been my fault, right up to my childhood. And I mean, there's a lot of stories about that. I always blamed myself. So Why is actually one of those songs. And if you listen to the words, it explains me down to a T. Um,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people are like this. We don't like to admit it because, you know, we all want to walk this earth like we're perfect because then we don't have to answer for anything and take any consequences, right? But
Yeah.
I find that I pretty much look inside for the most part. I'm one of those people that would rather blame me, take responsibility, correct, and move forward positively than put everything else on everybody else. Um,
Yeah.
so why is pretty much like it. You know, the words like why is it when I'm sad I think about you, when I'm lonely I can't do without you. But how come when I smile and everything's going well, I couldn't be bothered with you? And that
Yeah.
was kind of the way I was at that particular time. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I was that good weather person to somebody where everything was going great. I was there. But then when ish started getting a little bit real, you know, Garth was gone, and
Mm.
that's what the song was about. I'd met a girl and at a gig, and when I met her, she dropped dead gorgeous body, beautiful, um, just like a normal girl my age, and
Yeah.
we had a coffee, and things were great. And after about the second or third date, she told me that she was actually pregnant with her ex's baby. He basically found out she was pregnant, and he hit the road, Jack.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I was like, yeah, no, I can take it, I can handle it. I'm good with it, you know. The more pregnant she got, I still carried on seeing. The more pregnant she got, the more scared I got. And eventually, I knew that I couldn't handle it, and I had to end things. And then, you know, then I'd phone her, and because I'd miss her, because now at this stage, you know, a couple of months down, I'd really fallen in love with her, and it was so hard for me because I knew what I needed to do, and I knew what was good for me, and at the same time, I knew what I was doing to her. And that's where the
Yeah.
second verse sort of came, well, the last verse came in, where I basically, the second verse was, now every night I lie awake because I missed you, and that's the truth, you know. And I just can't deny the way I love you so, because that's the truth. I did, you know. And if I had the chance to relive everything, I would relive it and do it right. And in the chorus, it always comes back to, remember how we laughed, remember how cool everything
Yeah.
was, and then I had to get reminded that you're pregnant, kind of thing. That's not in the song, but basically, yeah. Then the last verse is, hang on a second, what if I called you up and said that I'm sorry? You know, maybe there's a second chance. Maybe you'll take me back, you know? And would it last forever this time? You know, so it kind of, that's the story of why I met a girl. She had somebody else's kid, and I literally, I couldn't man up and take the position of the dad and whatever I needed to do at the time. I was young, I was immature, I was stupid, and yeah, so I wrote this song. I'm friends with her to this day, by the way. And
Yeah.
her yeah, her son Daniel is exactly as old as the song is, obviously.
Wow. Of course,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
of course.
yeah,
That's so
yeah.
amazing. It's such an amazing story. I mean, like, I love that, and I love how you channel your real life into your music, you know. And people
Absolutely.
don't even know the backstory about it, but they feel it so much. And it's probably weird for you because you're like, guys don't even know that this is like a true story, but they just like, remember how we laughed. Feel
Yeah,
the vibe, and like, wow, it's really so cool. And I love that. I mean, you kind of like remind me of Adele and other good artists who can channel what they're experiencing, especially like, and the thing is that it's so relatable because we do go through these things, it's not just
yeah.
a story, oh shame, God. You will get so many people who has dealt with that kind of situation, or has been in an uncomfortable dilemma like that, where you had
Yes,
to make
yeah,
decisions, hard decisions, and it's hard to really get over and all of that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
with your career and everything, with starting from childhood and then just moving into like a grown man, did you find any challenges on your way that you feel like that kind of like could have made your whole career go a completely different direction, maybe in the household or community or just like somewhere along the way?
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of challenges. Back in the day, talking like 2000, 2001, there was not as much internet access and social media activity as there is now. In fact,
Yeah.
that time, around about that time, there was platforms like MySpace that came up, and a couple of
Yeah.
other things that you remember MySpace, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like the in platform, and everyone who was anybody was on MySpace. Um,
Mhm.
Pretty much, you know, only the leaders of the pack, the people with like really fast internet, like 56K modems, were able
Yes.
to actually
Yes. Yes.
they were able to access things. So yeah, the beginning part of my career was pretty much very bad marketing and disconnect of the name, the face with the song, you know. So there's no real brand to start off with. So
Mm.
the former part of my career was pretty much run by a manager who unfortunately, you know, he kind of wasn't experienced in industry enough to take my brand to the next level, and things fell apart before they even got going. So I released Why, and then I released Only With You, and I released Islands in the Stream, and things was just growing. And then this guy cut me off from the rest of the world. He was very sour that I didn't want him managing me anymore, and it just blew up. You know, he had put a car that I was driving in his name at the time. Yeah, so things just kind of went south. You know, And when he decided that my career was over, he basically pulled the plug. He also sent out letters to record companies saying that I was now bound to him, so they mustn't touch me. And at the time, I was quite hot, and not hot as in looking, but I was like
Yeah.
I was the end thing. So people
Yeah.
people sought after me, companies, they wanted to sign me, and he basically pulled the plug on all of that. So once he stopped managing me, I kind of lost. I lost the plot. Because I didn't know how to manage. I didn't have the contacts that he had made. Every phone number that had been given out was given to him. He was the only contact between Garth Taylor and the outside world. So therefore, things just went dry, and it hit me very hard because I thought I'd made it. I thought I'd finally, hit the big time. I've got a
Yeah.
manager. I've got my producer. The whole vibe was just like it was like a thing. And then when he pulled out, I went back to that Garth that just didn't believe in himself anymore, and
Yeah.
it took a great deal of effort and on my part to get back on the saddle. I mean, this guy also he'd run me down and said a lot of things about me that weren't true.
Yeah.
It's very easy to judge me from a distance because I am a different individual. I sing differently. I behave differently. Um, I'm not. I'm not saying I'm completely unique in the way that I behave. There's a lot of people that behave in the way that I do. Very very fidgety. I get very excited. I kind of, for want of a better word, I look like an ADHD person. I'm definitely A type. Um,
Yeah.
I'm very driven and very ambitious. And I literally, if there's something to learn, I want to learn it and I want to do it. You know, I could go to a music shop and buy myself a MIDI controller or a piece of equipment. I could easily do that, but instead I'll spend 30 hours making my own and learning how to program. And that's just the way my mind is. And so there was a lot of nasty things said about me, things ranging from drugs to being like mad in the head and all sorts of weird things. And
Yeah.
it took a lot for me to recover from that because it's literally, I was just starting to believe in myself, if that makes any sense. And then the carpet was pulled out from underneath me. So in terms of hard times, that would probably be the one of the hardest obstacles I've ever had to get over because it took many years. Because on the back of that, I suddenly became financially insecure, because the gigs stopped coming in. People wouldn't touch me because of things that had been said. And so, there was a bit of a hard blow to my career. And it took a long time and a lot of effort for me to get back on my feet. And subsequently, there's been the same sort of things that have happened in the years. And every single time I've reminded myself I've come through worse. So, what you can throw your punches at me, I'll be fine because I kind of know how to survive now.
It's like it's so true and so sad at the same time because like when I learned about because I don't know the music industry so well, and it's this one time
Mm.
I was watching New Edition. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that. It's like the autobiography of New Edition, the singing group of back in the day, and it just
Yeah,
shows how they come up, and how they had this manager and how they had to figure out how contracts actually work and being signed and all of that, and they thought they're making all of this money because their music is playing on the radios and they're doing all of these tours and they being in mansions and they're having parties and all of these things, but when it comes to pay up, there's hardly anything to show. And then the manager's like, oh no, because I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that. And but they don't inform you very well in the beginning of how this actually works. They just sell you
yeah,
dreams. They take you on a
yeah,
journey, and when they feel like they're done with you, they've actually
yeah,
been putting themselves out the whole time in the background,
yeah,
And I've
yeah,
heard so many stories of people signing to a record label, in the beginning because they're young, and they're young and they're fresh and they sign to a place. And then they're not understanding fully like what they're getting themselves into. And then when they want to move and be independent, they find out now that all their music or most of their stuff belongs to this record label and they can, or their name and so many
yeah,
big things, belongs to this. And I think it's so crappy, and it's not fair. And
yeah,
what you just expressed happened to so many people. And
yeah,
it's actually really, really tough. And it can break your character because, like you said, you didn't know how to navigate yourself as an artist. You just knew how to perform, but you didn't know how to navigate yourself, and you trusted this person. And for them to turn on you like that, and not just like, okay, let's go our separate ways. It's like he made it dirty, he made it ugly. And that's not necessary.
I must say that he did invest money into me. He paid for things, and he really wasn't that type of manager that took everything and made me suffer. Not at all. But the problem is that when I decided that I wanted to go bigger, and I decided within myself that what we were doing for the last few years wasn't progressing to a level. I would watch other artists and I would think to myself, that's what I want to be like. I want to be on that level. I want to, like, my photo shoots must look like that. My music videos must look like that. My everything must, because obviously in good business, you should check the competition out. You should compare yourself with other brands, and you should decide whether you're on the same level or not. If you're not, then bring up your game. That's where the saying comes from.
Absolutely.
When I wanted to up the game, I'm not sure if he was able to, or if he didn't know how to, and therefore, that a common human thing is when a person, when somebody points out the truth, they get angry. So that could have been what happened. I'm not sure. Yeah, but to be fair, he did invest and he really did try. But when I said I wanted to up the game, maybe he took it as an insult that he wasn't doing his best, which it wasn't. I wanted to up the game, so to speak.
Classic narcissist. Sounds like a narcissist, but still, even so, you just said I want to upgrade. He could have done some research. He could have upgraded himself as well. I mean, when you upgrade, he upgrades because now your network changed, your clients change, so many things change, and he have to be there as well. But narcissist, he probably wanted to keep you in a space where he can control things and where he knows everyone and where he knows things. That's probably. But
I literally wanted other people to produce my music at that time. I was like, look, I can play all the instruments. I can do it. In fact, my first few albums, I produced and played everything. And I was like, it's okay, but I want somebody else to do it now. Somebody else must produce. I want to hear what somebody else thinks about my music.
And so I believe, obviously, you climb back out of that hole and that rut, and you've been doing performances overseas. I'm sure you've done so many different things, bigger gigs. I'm sure you've done a lot of bigger gigs after him. How did you get out of all of that and get back into the Garth Taylor that everybody knew and loved and started flying again? How did you make that transition?
I think if there's one thing that you could associate with my name as an individual, it would be tenacity. So the how is I just didn't give up, So tears streaming down my face, my body broken, I'm so tired I could hardly breathe. I would still find a way to hang on to this dream that I called my music, So no matter what happened, I would continue just fighting to release songs and fighting to be on stage, and I would reinvent myself. I would try and produce things. Sometimes I'd make mistakes. Sometimes it would work out, but I just never gave up. I think from my early childhood, I learned one thing, and that was that I'm kind of I mustn't give up as much as things get me down. So after that had happened, I got a phone call from another record company. And the first thing the guy asked me, he says, listen, before we even talk, I need to know, are you on drugs? I'm like, no, I'm not on drugs. He says, okay, can you come and meet me in Joburg? Because I want to see you face to face. So I went and met him in Joburg. He flew me up, and I went and sat in his office. And I said, here I am. Make up your mind, like if I'm on drugs or not. And that was his biggest concern, because that was one thing he had heard, that I was a drug addict. Obviously, without judging, I've never taken drugs in my life before. I've never even smoked weed, not even touched pot. In fact, anybody who knows me will know that I loathe to take antibiotics or anything strong. I don't even, if I can't sleep, I don't want to take a heavy sleeping tablet. I'd rather take something herbal, something natural, and even then, it's not a continuous thing. I don't like chronic medication. I'll do anything to avoid putting poison into my body. So When he asked me on drugs, I said no. And when I went to see him, I said, you do yourself a favor at any time, through any relationship we may or may not have, feel free to test me. And he said, nah. And he signed me up for a record deal. And that was in 2005. And I released If I Gave You My Soul, and I released Home Again, and a couple of other hits off that album. And If I Could Raise My Hands. And that's where the journey began again for me. From about 2003 to 2005, I was pretty much back in the bar scene, and feeling very crap about myself. But yeah, 2005 things started improving again. And then I released another album that was kind of really shelved because the record company ran out of budget, and that kind of made me feel a bit crap. But the only single of that album was a song called Thank You. That's kind of quite popular in Cape Town at the moment. I dig that song. But yeah, then I signed a bum publishing deal with a guy who basically made me sign my whole life away to him, and he's done literally nothing, like nothing, Seriously, I signed a whole bunch of my huge hits away to this guy, and he's just sat on his ass. Excuse my saying ass, but literally doing nothing. So yes, that was in 2005 as well. Then I just carried on. After that record deal finished in 2009, I started producing with other producers. I was now my own label. I just started releasing singles, and 2014, 2015, I released a full-length album, and that's where Crocodile Tears, How It Used to Be has come from, and a couple of other great singles of that one. I'm happy with that album. So, and now I've been, like, the last 2 years, like everyone else, you just kind of been struggling to survive. I am coming out with a couple of new songs pretty soon. But yeah, so to answer your story, that's how I get myself back on my feet. I just turn to music. There's one thing that's never let me down,
The fire, because it comes with fire, and nothing can put your fire flame out. Only you can put your flame out. Listen, man.
Yeah.
In your career, please, I know there must be one or two weirdest gigs that you were like, oh, did I just perform at this gig, or like, what just happened tonight? Can you share like 2 or 3, or like even just one of your most weirdest experience where you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that, and I do not want to experience that ever again.
Yeah. So I did a bar in this is before Y came out, but I did a bar. I was asked to please play. It was a very upmarket cultural bar. It was one of those gigs, and I arrived and I set up, and very friendly guys and things like that. And it ended up being a transvestite / drag / it was that type of bar. And I didn't realize it. And at the time I was young and a bit like stupid to the whole thing, and certainly not worldly.
Yeah.
I mean, on the bar itself, whereas you'd get, like, I don't know, biltong pieces and crackers and maybe peanuts and stuff like that. On this particular bar, there was lube and condoms, and it was that's their bar snacks. I'm like, what? What? But let me tell you, I know you said the gig, that was a weird gig, but I would happily play that gig again. The most festive, happy, most jovial, unjudgmental, just amazing people. It was like, and that was one of my favorite gigs that I actually did, although one of the weirdest ones as I arrived. Another weird one was, it was quite far into my career where I was kind of riding the top of the wave, like the biggest things in chocolate biscuits, and I was told by a promoter, organized a gig as part of my tour that I was doing at the time. And it was going to be amazing. It was going to be like an intimate, like, evening with Garth Taylor, where I'd sit on the piano and I'd play, and it would be like an acoustic unplugged sort of thing with a drummer and me, and we'd just sit. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be great. You know, I was looking forward to it. And I think there were like 3 people at this gig. There was 3 people at the show, and I was like, now I know, because this was in PE, and at the
Yeah.
time I had some big songs in PE, so I know that was just not, something wasn't right, you know, like what actually happened here. And
Yeah.
apparently it wasn't advertised at all. Like nobody even knew I was there. It was kind of like like the people that were there were a couple of family friends of the promoter, kind of thing. So it was like, yeah,
So
okay.
no one actually knew that you were there.
And
Absolutely
like
no.
nobody, it was like a sort of underground gig that no one knew about except this guy's family. That was weird. But again, it was a great gig, because the time I had with those, like, let's just say 7 people at that show, was amazing. It was like I'd made 7 new friends that night, and it was like, it really was an more intimate than I thought it would be, because I literally said, okay, listen, you don't have to sit at the back, because there's like 30 chairs at the front here. So why don't you
Yeah.
all just make a semicircle around us here, and we'll have a conversation rather than a gig. And we did. And I just spoke about the songs, and I sang to those 7 people, and I sang my heart out. But that was pretty weird. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, because no, like truly, as an artist, from artist to another artist, I love that, and I kind of did something similar to that
Thank
effect,
you.
because I've always believed in this one thing. Missy Elliott used to have a show back in the day, you know, where she had
Yeah.
these rappers and they fall out and that kind of thing, and the last man standing wins a competition. But she put them through all of these different challenges, and one of the challenges was that they would perform in like a big arena with no one there, just to test their energy. And some of the energies dropped. Some of the people perform like, yeah, I'm still doing this thing. And then she told them,
Yeah.
whenever you perform, don't ever drop your energy. Don't ever give the people less or whatever. Maybe it can be 2 people or 3 people, could be a whole crowd there. You perform and you give it your all and you make it the best. What you did, you transformed that whole gig into something a lot more intimate and a lot more special for that people, actually, because now it was like
Yeah.
literally personal with them, and you could talk more and get into more things that you wouldn't probably gotten into if you had like a full audience, because you would have just gone straight, right? But now you had time to get to know people. You could even ask, hey sir, what do you do for a living, you know? And then you could even banter off that person. Now my experience like that, it was a friend of mine. He was doing a one-man show, right? He's a comedian as well. And then I was supposed to host the gig. So we're in this nice, intimate, I don't know if you've been to the Armchair before in Observatory. So the gig is at the Armchair, and it's very nice, small and intimate, you know. Just before the show starts, blackout, absolute blackout. People already paid their tickets. We're ready to go. We told them we're going to start in the next 5 minutes. It went to blackout. He comes to me and he's like, dude, what are we going to do? And I'm like, it's a small space. We can project, we can project our voices. I told him, run across the road, get some candles. He bought some candles. He put candles on the stage. And it was probably the best comedy experience I've ever had, because I didn't have a mic. So I had to use my whole body, and I needed to use my arms, and I had to use more. I felt like I was acting. I felt like it was some kind of a drama. It really shifted me in a different way of performing, in a different way of thinking, in a different way of engaging. I really had to shift. I didn't have time to think about it. I just had to go with it. So
and I bet the candles gave you material also to joke about, right?
Oh, yes, because I'm hosting and I'm like, and listen to this. We all do our thing, right? I go on, I'm the host. Another comedian goes on. Ambrose comes on for like an hour. He finishes his thing, and everyone loves it. The minute the show is done, zoop, lights back on. We're like, wow. Wow.
Nice, yeah.
That was crazy. Okay, so what's some of your weirdest moments? Can you please share with us some of your most amazing, memorable moments that you'll always keep to your heart? Maybe it could have been that you've met your icons, the people that you love to listen to, that you grew up to, and also maybe just one gig that you really felt like, wow, now this is a life of an artist. Could you share some of that with us?
Yeah. So look, this is going to sound really, really cliche, but my biggest moment ever in my career was when I went to a children's home as a celebrity to host a Christmas party.
That's amazing.
Because I myself was in a children's home, and I had photographs of me sitting on a celebrity's lap. Um,
Wow.
I felt that my life at that point, it's serious, it was such a moment for me because I felt that my life had revolved full circle. You know, I began as a child in a home, with stars in my eyes when I didn't know who the celebrity was, obviously, as a kid, but he was an
Yeah.
adult that had come with presents, and that's all that counted, you know. So now,
Yeah.
fast forward a number of years, and now I'm the guy who's visiting a children's home, and those kids are looking at me. They have no clue who I am, but that was by far the biggest moment in my entire career. To know that I'd actually done this full circle, I was like, wow, talk about karma, good karma, just being able
Yeah.
to suddenly I'm in a position where I'm giving back.
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't
That's
remember
amazing.
the time where I don't remember the time where that celebrity. I wouldn't have a clue who they were, what they did, but
Yeah.
I do. But I had the picture, and one day I had a picture in a children's home, and I was like, wow, that's definitely one of the biggest kind of moments for me. In in terms of knowing that I'd kind of arrived, um, was when I was selected to open for Simply Red, and I toured with them for a month. I did the whole country. Um, I mean, I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Simply Red. It was part of my cover repertoire. I
Yeah.
used to do
Yeah.
covers of this guy, and I'm standing on a stage, the same stage as he's standing on. That was my biggest my moment where I kind of knew that I'd arrived, and it was just
Yeah.
gigantic. I mean, there was 25,000, 27,000, 30. There was just so many people standing in front of me while I was singing my songs. The two biggest
Wow.
shows for me, the best were Cape Town and Port Elizabeth. It was
Yeah.
just absolutely amazing because now at that stage they were my fans.
Yes.
Johannesburg,
Yes.
were a bit unsure. They all think, oh, this guy, isn't he the Lighthouse fam? Isn't that the Lighthouse family guy? And then
Yeah.
when I walk on stage, they realize that it's not Lighthouse family. This is some other guy. So yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of my biggest moments. The other one was when Richard Branson actually selected me to sing at his son's wedding, which
Wow.
I kind of feel that's a bit of a personal thing. It's a wedding. You don't just want anybody there. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was handpicked basically to sing at the son's wedding, and although I wasn't allowed to actually speak to Richard Branson and his son, they made a point of coming up to me after the show and introducing themselves to me and telling me that I actually made the night for them. Thank you so much. And that to me
Wow.
was a moment. He didn't
Wow.
have to. I mean, it's Richard Branson. He didn't have to talk
Yeah.
to me. I could have
Yeah.
just been a singer. I could have been a singer guy, but yeah, that was quite a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
thing for me.
That's so
Yeah,
awesome. I mean, simply read, oh my word. And I
yeah.
love the thought of coming home to you. And naked. Yeah, dude, that's like the
I,
only song I probably know
Kung, kung,
of
kung,
something.
kung, kung, kung,
Yeah.
kung.
Yeah. Woo! The beat. I mean, like, how did that
Yeah.
feel for you? Him performing that song live on stage
I,
and you hear all the beats and the sounds. You're like, oh my
no,
word,
it's
this is so
amazing.
crazy.
Just amazing.
Did you ever get like
Yeah,
starstruck?
yes, absolutely. Look, not much of a mover. He kind of just stood there and moved from side to side, but yeah, he could vocal. That man, wow, such a
Yeah.
vocal.
And such
Yeah,
a dancing
and
song, but he's standing still.
yeah, step, step, step. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, I've had a lot of great moments. I mean, I danced on the tables at a Spur in Kimberley with Brenda Fassie. That was amazing. We just had so
Wow.
much fun. Myself and her just clicked like this. He was like, yeah.
That's
Um,
so
yeah, I mean, growing up in school, I listened to the likes of Judy Boucher. Now she's a personal friend of mine. Those are moments. That I actually get to make friends with one of my idols.
yeah,
We
that's
used to
so
sing that
cool.
song we used to sing that song in the playgrounds. Brian McKnight. Just all these people that I've had the extreme fortune of being able to even be within 10 meters of them, let alone on the same stage as them. So yeah.
Listen, I wanna dial it back a little to what you just mentioned. One of your highlights that you said on just mentioned. Oh, are you cool? I can't hear you for real though. Can you hear me? Press the mic thing on your. I don't know. There we go. I think I
All right.
say
So
something.
I've now had to my little headphones, my little headphone thingies, these eye things.
Yeah.
They last for an hour or so.
Oh
Now
yeah.
they used to last for a lot longer.
It reminds me, I'm actually going a bit overtime here, but yeah, we're gonna wrap this up really soon. I just wanted to jump into what you mentioned. One of your first highlights, was going back to the home and performing for those kids again. And I can now listen. I used to work with a youth organization called Spades. We used to do youth work in schools, with informal settlements, but our main focus was working with kids and like being there for them through self-development and all of those things, fun and games, and speaking about the challenges that they're facing, peer pressure, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, all of those and identity crisis and all of that. Friend of mine once told me, he's like, look, I know this home close by with kids there and that kind of thing. Let's just go around there and just spend some time with the kids. I was like, but like, it's weird. He's like, no, trust me, let's just go there. He takes me there, and we go inside, and some of the kids were sleep. I think it was their nap time. And they were like, no, we'll come back again. And they're like, just, no, we'll wake them up. I was like, okay, fine, And she woke up the kids. We didn't even have gifts. We didn't even have presents. The fact that these people, these three grown men, came here to spend time with these kids was so amazing for them. There was this one child that was running up and down. He was so excited. He was kept on running up and down and just screaming, ah! It took him like 20 minutes to calm down and tell me his name is Storm, because he was just like so excited. Like there was people here coming to play with them, and they were climbing on me, and I was just playing this robot gorilla dude, and just like the smallest thing that you could do, or just like the smallest moment. So guys, if you really want to inspire someone, if you really want to inspire a bunch of kids, and also just feel something in your heart that is very, very rewarding, I encourage each and every one of you guys to just spend, even if it's an hour, go visit the home, spend time with these guys. If you can donate something, it will be even amazing. It will be so much amazing. But just to be there, to play with these kids or just see them, it's changing, it's life changing. I think my partner, the same thing. She went to a home and she started a project. She was inspired. She was someone to go start a whole project within and a whole program with the kids. So it's a really, I admire you for that. I commend you for that, and something that I experienced as well. Not on your scale though. I wasn't a celeb when I went. But
Lunga, it's actually something that's very, very close to my heart, because I was in a home, and I've been to some homes, and I've done exactly the same thing. And when I go and visit those kids, I find it very difficult to keep it together. Even you speaking like that to me now, telling me your story, it's very identifiable for me. And I don't think that the average person out there realizes how much it means to a child. Even parents with children nowadays, the bit of advice that I can give anybody is, don't worry about how many toys you can buy them, or the television, or shift your focus and spend your time, because that means more to a child than anything else. I spent a better part of my first 10 years not having anybody who literally gave a damn. And although my adult self doesn't remember that, trust me, there's a subconscious Garth child that's in here that is affected by that. And my whole life, I'm going to have to deal with those particular demons because of that. So I encourage people out there who have children and who want to visit children's homes or anything, even teachers, teachers spend time with kids, yes. And I encourage people to spend the time, to invest the time in those kids, because that is worth more than any iPad or any device you could ever give children. And that is what will pave their way for life, to show them that they do count, and people do care.
Yes.
Anything short of that you might as well just, you know, not do, because that's all we need as children. I'm saying we because that's all I needed. And it's something that makes me very emotional when I do visit children's homes. Now, because of COVID, I've not been able to facilitate that. Very sadly, I've been to some shelters that have to remain nameless because they're places of safety, etc., etc.
Yes.
I've seen children that have been victims of abuse. I've seen children that have just been victims of a poor upbringing, that have had to be taken away by the welfare and placed in homes for their own well-being. And let me tell you, every single time I see a child like that, it brings back such internal, unconscious memories for me. The one thing I know for sure is that invest your time in your children. Stop giving them the iPad. Stop giving them phones to give yourself a break, because those kids, let me tell you, no matter how happy you think they are because they're playing a game on that iPad, they're going to grow up to always feel like something's missing.
Absolutely.
You know, don't let your child be that child, or anybody else's child for that matter. Just give them the time. And you should be proud of yourself that you do that sort of thing too, because it's amazing. It's one of the most amazing work anyone can do. I think that's my personal opinion.
Look, man, look, like I said, I used to work with them. In total, I was with them for 6 years, because I was like 3 years on the program. And then I worked for them 8 years, actually, 7 years, because I worked with them for 4 years and I was 3 years on the program as one of the kids that was, you know, being on the program. And I left because my calling was to go on stage and all of that stuff, and I pursued everything else, the stage life. But throughout my career, there was always a moment where it's like, hey, Lunga, don't you want to come do something here? So I always found myself going back, being drawn back to these opportunities. And last year, the end of last year, I registered my own NPO called SOC South Africa. And my goal is to, especially I'm planning a campaign now that I really would love to get you involved in, if you have the time. And if obviously, I know you definitely would love to be part of it, but like, if you have the time, I will obviously speak to you a little bit more. We're going to go to different kinds of homes, and I don't want to speak too much about you, but I'll share those details with you on a more personal platform. But you inspired me so much. And like I said, like all it needs is time. All you need is time. Like, I didn't even introduce myself. I didn't even play a game just yet. And I have so much energy and I have time to play with these kids. But before I could even like get into all of the craziness, they were so excited. They were just happy and grateful. So like you said, objects and toys and that kind of thing. Yeah, that comes and goes, but we emotional beings. And if we want to learn about unconditional love, and if you want to learn about what's truly important, these kids will teach you that. These kids will really show you that. So I'm big on this. I'll never stop. I have a huge heart for giving back and all of that stuff. And I'm glad I came across you. So I like when there's like celebrities behind the thing, like a team of celebrities behind the thing. And like you said, like a celebrity came to come visit you guys. So yeah, I'll definitely be in contact with you. And you just inspired me like next level.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well,
talk about that now. I want to switch it over. It's not a more price of fame. It's about But Garth, you've been an absolutely pleasure tonight. I've loved getting to know you. We've always loved your music. We've always danced to your music. We've requested your music. Your music is part of good memories. Your music is part of a good time of our lives. And your music, it was also the reason for us to get up and dance so many times. So appreciate you.
And I hope it carries on, because I've got more music coming,
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
I'm not
before I let you go, I have this question that I ask all of my artists, and I have to ask it to you. And I probably think I know where you will take it back to, but let's see where you take it back to. So I'm gonna put you in this time machine, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna turn the clock, and I'm gonna turn it back all the way back to a very younger version of yourself, a very younger Garth, maybe a scared. Maybe the version of you that just started music, or maybe the version of you that was in the home, but a very important version of you. I want to take you back to that, which is a couple of years back, and it's the Garth of today, having walked the journey, having learned what you've learned, having made all the mistakes and everything, and having all those achievements. You have 5 minutes to give that younger Garth a bit of advice. What would that be? Or guidance, anything?
Yeah, so definitely the advice that I would give younger Garth, or even the Garth from 5 minutes ago. The first bit of advice is just remember that you are different to everybody else. You're going to do things differently. You're going to behave differently. Don't judge yourself because you're different. You should appreciate yourself because you're different. I've always struggled to do that. I've always looked at myself and gone, I can't be like that, or I can't do that, or I don't sing like that guy, or my dancing's whack compared to that individual. So, and I never really took the time to appreciate the things that I could do right from an early age. I seemed to miss my talent. Like I'd miss the target completely. I would shoot that arrow and I'd completely miss because I'm so busy worrying about that song that chap released or whatever. And that's why when I first had a song out, I was very surprised. I didn't expect it. I didn't for 1 second dream it would happen. Yes. I would go back to younger Garth and say to him, just because you're different, it doesn't make you any worse. Very important, a lot of people are very different to each other. A lot of people have got very different characters. They like doing different things. It doesn't make them worse. It might not be everybody's cup of tea. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different doesn't mean worse. That's one of the first things. The other thing I would definitely say to younger music artists, don't sign anything. Don't sign anything. Rather spend the money to get an expert to look. I'm talking to music here. Spend the money to get an expert to look at the writing that's been put in front of you, because I can guarantee you, no matter how clever you think you are, you're going to miss something. And you're going to end up signing away your living. You're going to end up signing away the very thing that's supposed to bring you money. As an artist, you have songs. Okay, I'm talking about a songwriter. You have songs. And you put those songs out there, and those songs, in effect, are your breadwinners. Those songs are what's going to take you into an old age and sustain you. If you sign those works away, if you sign away to anybody without knowing what you're getting into, you're potentially sabotaging your future, which is exactly what I could have done. Luckily, I had more songs up my sleeve. Luckily, I've written more hits than the first hits that I literally gave away to some idiot who literally just wanted to make money off me without doing a single thing. I wrote more songs, but who's to say that you can? There's many people out there who are one-hit wonders, and that's enough. You can have one song, and that one song can become a big hit and sustain you through your entire life, believe it or not, because off that one song, you'll be hired to do performances, and by the time you become an old person, you become like a legend performer, and then you'll be invited to legend stages and so on and so forth. So even if you have one thing that you've done, do not sign anything with anybody until you've had an attorney in that particular field look at it. If you're a comedian, have an entertainment lawyer in that particular field look at the contract. An artist that you paint pictures, drawings, have somebody look at it. Do not sign anything. Absolutely. I mean, it's not to say everybody out there is a crook, but some people out there are in the business of entertainment. And business, let me tell you, is another beast altogether. Business is there to make money. It's not to make people happy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's two pieces of advice. And the last thing I want to say to anybody out there with talent, and I would say this to myself, and it is relevant because I'm a very hard worker, but I would just remind myself to just, when you think that you're all that, just remember that it's 10% of talent and 90% of hard work. So you can have something that's great. And this is my problem has been when I was younger, that I would have things that were amazing. And even to this day, 10 minutes ago, Garth Taylor, don't sit on something. If you have something really good, work hard. Work as hard as you possibly can to get it out there. And remember that just because you have a good voice, or you're hot on the bass, or you're funny as hell, that's not enough. You need to work. You need to work. 90% of what you are going to be is the amount of work that you put in.
Absolutely.
So yeah, don't leave it up to your sheer talent, because it's not enough.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that because couple of guests back, I had someone who was asking me, is what makes it? Is it your talent or your hard work? And I was like, yeah, talent gets in the door, but a lot of talented people are lazy, so they don't do a lot of things. Sometimes because they rely on the talent, they'd be like, I'll just have to switch it on, and then you get the person who's maybe not that talented, but he works so hard. That's the person who's getting the shoots done. That's the person who's not sleeping. That's the person who's working 10 times harder, looks a lot better, sounds a lot better. So like I said, like you said, a lot of hard work is what it takes to get you wherever you want to go. If you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to make it successful in whatever you want to do, a lot of hard work. And another thing I want to touch on, a whole different thing. I grew up different too. You grew up different, but today we are superheroes. So I believe in the different peeps. If you are different now, best believe that you are only going to transform into something that people love instead of shy away from or make fun of. You become the person that people actually love, I mean, what a flip is that? People are singing your music now, but back then you were the different one and people made fun or that kind of thing, They found you weird. But now, you have sold out shows, people are singing your music, hits, and lots of people you have more people supporting you versus the people that actually treated you funny in your life.
Absolutely. That's so
awesome.
Different is not altogether bad. Different is what it is. It's just different. It's banana and apple. They're both great. Yeah.
All right, Garth, it's been a real pleasure having you on The Price of Fame, and I'm glad my guests also enjoyed their time learning about you tonight. You have an amazing heart, you have an amazing story, and you're such an amazing person, and I really look forward to meeting you in person and doing some work, because you really, really inspired me on that level, and I would really love to do something with you there. But let's leave it to divine timing. But for now, I just want you to please, for any of the listeners and viewers who are actually watching this podcast right now, who's not following you on all of your social platforms, please drop all of your links right now on where we can find you and anything that you're currently working on that we keep our eyes and ears open for. Please let us know.
Oh yeah, so it's quite easy. It's most of my things are at Garth Taylor, at the Garth Taylor. So it's because there's lots of Garth Taylors in the world, and I believe I'm the Garth Taylor. So
yeah. I came up first.
But actually, I was the most famous one. I won't lie. I mean, when I first started, I don't recall any others. And I know this the website garthtaylor.com. garthtaylor.uk, .co.uk, garthtaylor.co.za. Nobody had those websites. So I was the first person with the Garth Taylor anything. So yeah. Anyway, the Garth Taylor. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not very active on Twitter at the moment. I'm naughty. That's one of the things I'm learning this year is social media marketing. Believe it or not. Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff, but I'm actually getting better with it. Once I know what I'm actually doing, I'm going to be a lot more active. You're going to see a lot more fun stuff. But so the Garth Taylor is the best place to go. I've been around for long enough, so if you just type my name into Google, you'll find something.
Absolutely. Garth, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show tonight. And for the guests, if you're thinking that I said Garth a message before the show saying, please wear light blue t-shirt, I did not. This is pure coincidence. This is pure coincidence.
I love blue. It's one of my favorite colors, but yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Garth, for being
here
so much on the show tonight. I really enjoyed myself. I hope that you had a good time as well. Absolutely. Is there any last words that you would like to share, or any last message that you'd like to share? Maybe there's something that I forgot to ask you that you just want to put out there, or you want to send a shout out to your fans, send a shout out to
just everybody. Just love you guys. Thanks for the support. In PE, on the 3rd of December, boardwalk. You've got to be there. 3rd and 4th. I'm doing something there with Alice, Isabel, and the guys, and then I'm in Cape Town from about the 5th or 6th. We're doing a few things in Cape Town, East London, around that sort of period. So the first half of December, keep your eyes on my Facebook page, because I'll probably be doing something in your area.
Absolutely. Garth,
yeah,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, sir. May you have a lovely evening further, and may God continue to bless you and put you on this amazing journey that you're on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have it from the amazing Garth Taylor. We've loved him from the beginning up until now, and he's just got so much more love, so much more energy, and so much more to give. And if you guys want to be part of what we were going to do, you'll soon know and see what we're getting up to, or what I'm planning, what I'm cooking up. And it will be amazing to get as many people as possible to be part of all this giving back thing. Because like I said, if you want to do something for someone, you want to lift their spirits and have some kind of life-changing, rewarding feeling, this is the type of work. This is one of the types of works that you could possibly get yourself into and doing. But that's enough of that, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lunga Tshuka. If you want to catch me on my social platforms, you can catch me on Facebook. That is Lunga Tshuka, MC Comedian, Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. And on Instagram, you can catch me at Lunga Tshuka. That's at Lunga Tshuka. For exclusive snippets of The Price of Fame, is a separate page on Instagram. You can catch it at Price of Fame ZA. The Price of Fame ZA. I'm also on Twitter, but I'm just as naughty as Garth, so don't even bother. I will not tweet at you. I won't follow you. I probably won't even see you there. Anyways, that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you for your patience. I know today started a little late, but you came, you stuck it out, and you enjoyed it with me. I've had a good time with you, and I've always have a good time with you guys. I love each and every one of you. Continue to be amazing. Continue to inspire yourselves, and continue to inspire others and the loved ones around you. My name is Lunga Tshuka. That's it from me tonight. This is The Price of Fame.